MGT does not substitute for medical, financial, or legal advice.
Welcome to MGT. I'm Monique.
And I'm Lainey, and we have the cheat codes to the simulation.
Today we have Danielle Paige coming onto the show, aka I am Danielle Paige on Instagram.
And she is honestly probably the one that is most responsible for all of my activation.
This is actually calcified. This was on my right side, and that was in my body for 20 years.
Are you going to cry about it or are you going to boss up?
People are going to be pissed because when they wake up and they say, oh my God, I didn't know it was like that. Oh my God, what do you think is going to happen? Chaos, revolution, rebellion. It's time to normalize the spiritual teachers, the guides, the artists, the light workers, making millions, not just the business coaches.
Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
First of all, I'm going to do both.
They're so heavy, I cannot believe this was inside of me.
It's so important to consider this question. What do I desire? How would you really enjoy spending your life? What do I desire?
I have to say she has been an integral part in my own ascension journey, with all of the DNA upgrades in her classes and her moon circles and her astro hacks. I've done both of her astrology courses, so I'm going to try not to fangirl her today, but she's on the podcast and we're super excited.
We are so excited to have her on. But first, guys, if you are listening on Apple or Spotify, please hit like and subscribe. And if you are watching us on YouTube, please also hit like, share, and subscribe. And leave us a comment in the comment section and let us know what you think. Welcome, Danielle.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
I was like, I can't hear you. Grand Rising, how are you? Well, it's actually good afternoon for you, isn't it?
Yes, good afternoon.
I know.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for coming on.
I know you have all the cheat codes for us.
Well, yeah, we're going to have some fun today.
I know. I have to say, we were so excited when you said yes. Like, you've been such an integral part in my own ascension over the last year with all of the downloads and the moon circles and the astro hacks and the mystery courses and yeah, I'm like, I keep harassing you to do the level 3 because I'm like, I'm ready.
It is. It's launching in January.
Yeah.
So exciting.
But yeah, no, you're just so amazing. And yeah, you've just got so many cheat codes for our listeners. So I just thought it would be good to have you on.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Let's do this.
Let's do this. I love it. Are you in LA?
I'm in LA, yeah.
Oh,
right now.
wonderful. Yeah. So nice.
Are you planning on staying there?
No.
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 Where are you thinking of heading? Unknown.
Like, I mean, I'm traveling next week, but where I'll end up, I have no idea.
Yeah. I think that's like a lot of collective are in the same boat at the moment. We're like, I don't even know where to move to right now.
No, I'm just waiting for the download. So as soon as I get it, then I'll know.
I know. I think we all are.
Yeah.
So I guess like we love what's the importance of people knowing their astrology, I guess. Like, I know I'm always banging on about like people needing to know like their birth chart because it literally has the cheat codes. But I guess like hearing it from you would be like so awesome.
Oh, yeah, I have actually a fever because I have, you know how I had my surgery?
Yeah.
Or, one of my scars got infected, and so it's like super infected. So I actually have a fever, so I have to go on an antibiotic, which I was waiting like a week, and I don't want to, but it's so infected that I have no choice right now. So I'm like, I'm in another realm right now.
Well, thank you so much for like not scheduling. Like you should have.
Yeah, let's just do this. I might be sweating because so I might start sweating, but we're
Feeling
good.
you healing vibes now.
I have to say, like, I feel like the solar flashes this week are like really testing everyone's ailments.
They were huge.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Like I've been on basic survival mode this week. Like minimal things getting done.
Totally.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yesterday for me was so tough. I was like at work all day, like, gotta get through this.
Yeah. Yesterday I took a nap. I never nap. I literally in the middle of the day, I'm just like, I have to sleep.
Yeah.
So
Oh well, I
let's do
hope you
it.
feel better soon, honestly.
Thank
That's
you. I
so,
know
like-
I don't like taking antibiotics at all, but like it's so bad that I have to. And I waited, I did everything I could. So sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Like
It's like so interesting that you say that because like obviously like I know like all of us are very into the natural healing and stuff. And you did recently get your like deplanted. The explant. I know that a lot of people, like even for me, like I've had like my tear troughs done, and I've noticed that this side was like being, what's the word, like irritated with the solar flashes. Like have you noticed that like what
Well, it does, it aggravates everything. That's why we get sick. That's why we get crazy emotional. I mean, it aggravates everything.
Was that a huge role in you getting deplanted?
I mean, that's a whole journey in itself. That was like my health, what I've been dealing with since 2017, and also just wanting to connect with my body and not wanting to have two huge round balls there anymore.
I saw your video where you were saying like it was sitting like on your heart chakra, so you couldn't take a deep breath. And I was like, because I was watching it because I had thought about potentially getting them because I've always been like quite small breasted, right? So like everyone wants like nice boobies.
Totally, mine looked beautiful.
Yeah. But like the whole sitting on the heart chakra part would have, like, I was just trying to visualize what it would have been like, and like so restricting.
It is. Do you have them at all? I don't know. Do you have implants?
No.
And you don't either?
No. It's so funny. I can't even wear metal on my chest anymore.
Okay.
Like I feel so like my electromagnetic field is just like
totally
like it's like strangling me.
Yeah. So I didn't want to offend anyone if they had it, but where we're moving, like, we go through fads and phases, like it's actually going to look really like not good soon. And people are going to get them out, one for health, one for connecting back to their body, but also like it's a fad that like is actually just not looking good anymore. And so people are moving back away from it. So
well, it's actually so funny. Well, not funny, but like one of my friends had a rupture in hers recently. And like, it's just insane, like how these things that are not in alignment anymore are kind of like, it's kind of doing it for itself.
But I mean, I had a good run. My 20s and 30s were like, popping. So we're good.
Love it. You had the good titties for the 20s and 30s. Always.
I mean, I really got through my 20s and 30s with them. So great.
No, you look beautiful with and without.
Thank you.
Stunning. Yeah. Can we touch on the astrology? Because I'm so excited. I'm so new to like astrology. So basically, I didn't really know like the importance of astrology until Lainey kind of guided me that way. And then she kind of led me to your page, and I've been obsessed ever since. I feel like you've got so many cheat codes. I just can't, it blows my mind every day, like how accurate and like how you can almost like predict what's going to happen through astrology.
Yeah, astrology is, it's one thing I tell everyone. Astrology is so beautiful and amazing, but it's not every single thing. So you can't just like only look at astrology and never look at, just what's going on, what's coming through intuitively. But astrology is an amazing tool to help you understand yourself, to help you understand, your journey, what you're here for. And then also, it really comes down to the cosmic cycles. And, listen, at the end of the day, I don't know everything about astrology at all. Do I know everything to a T of how it works? No, because there's obviously a lot that we don't know, that we're not told, and that have hidden from us being here, because we have to go through this journey. But it is such a beautiful tool to help you understand the cosmic weather. And it's, as above, so below. This is nothing new. It's been going on since the ancients, and everything affects us. Everything is energy. Everything is connected. And I want to say one thing. I won't we need to get, and I actually don't want to get into detail about the pros and the cons, but what I will bring up is, the situation that happened with people getting the shot and then not having their periods, and then people that didn't have it and not getting their periods too. And everyone was like, I don't understand, how is this happening? And it's like, it's so simple, because everything is energy. And it just comes down to that. So that alone just shows you how deeply connected we are to everything around us. But yet we are in the separation in our ego from it.
Yeah.
I think we've also been programmed to not give it any importance as well. So it's like that deprogram and relearning. And once you master the energy, it's almost like you're invincible, honestly. It's like you can do all the things.
Yeah. I mean, once you understand it, you use it to help you, and you use it to lead you. And I'm not, and I make this very clear, I'm not an astrologer that's like, okay, it's Mercury retrograde and I'm going to hide in a hole and never do anything. No, it just, once you have a better understanding, then you can work with the energy. But nothing is about hiding, just using it to help you get through life. That's really what it's about.
I think that's why I was so attracted to you, because you were not this basic bitch 3D astrology, and it was she knows things and it's bringing the quantum and the consciousness into it, and not being limited by that belief of the lower octaves or the archetypes of the astrology as well was what spoke to me as well. It's yes, understanding that I love memes, so I always
oh god, I love a good meme.
Actually, I share your memes all the time. You're one of my greatest meme dealers. But, I love a meme, but I guess it's that, and I guess it's also entry level into getting people that don't believe in astrology to start to believe it. The number of I guess boys that will start to take notice because I drop these memes that are really but yeah, I guess that's an entryway. But then getting those people that are stuck on the 3D is it's hard. So I think that's why we were so attracted to you as well.
Absolutely. I feel like everyone always talks. Oh, sorry, you go, honey.
Oh no, go on.
I was going to say, I just feel with the astrology that's out there, that was out there, it was so basic 3D that I was like, how can there be codes in this? How could there be, how could you see anything more than the fact that I'm an Aries and I'm fiery? Totally. Do you know what I mean? But people like you do decode it and decipher it, where the placements are. And it's just crazy accurate.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is in some ways it's great that it's getting out to the masses, but at the same time, it's a slippery slope, because, then everyone's like, oh, I'm a Pisces. Can I be with a Aries or whatever? And I'm like, oh, honey, we're so beyond that. It has nothing to do with that. So I'm happy that it's becoming mainstream, but then it's it's not the real truth of astrology, but that's okay. I mean, it's still, when I tell people I'm an astrologer, they think it's a joke, and I'm like, oh, just follow me online and then your life will change.
Actually though.
You don't have to believe in me, but I literally know everything about your soul.
I know. I really do love doing readings for people that don't believe in it, and especially looking at the cycle. So I'm like, oh, this was probably the hardest period of your life from this time to this time, and during this time this was going on, and this one you were probably feeling this, and they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh, but astrology is not real. Don't worry, it's not real.
I think the thing that gets I think I can't remember what class it was, but you were like, oh, you can tell the size of someone through their chart, and I was like, oh my god, I must master this. So now it's my favorite party trick with the girls, and then the boys are horrified, obviously. I'm soz not soz that you gave me your chart.
You usually can tell stuff if they have a Saturn and the Mars there, then you know, usually it's like a little bit of a situation. So just
I
saying.
love it. I love it. I remember you told me one day, but I've forgotten it now.
I only do it the opposite, like the positive way. Lol.
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, equal opportunity. We love everyone. We all come in different shapes and sizes.
Well, no, but
but
it's
you
also
know, there's just certain things.
it's just like cheat codes to save your time, right, ladies?
Absolutely.
It is what it is.
Don't want to be wasting any time now. No, it's absolutely wonderful. What do, like, we've obviously just moved into like a Scorpio moon, and we're in a Scorpio sun and a Scorpio Mars. I did my nerdy stuff. What does that mean for like the collective as such?
Yeah, well, Scorpio season is always super intense because, as many know, Scorpio is the most
having a
intense of the
horrible-
zodiac. And so, yeah, this is where we go through deep, deep transformations. This is where we're shedding more layers. And we do that because before we move into Sagittarius, Sagittarius, we need to be free and open to fly to the other realms. So we go through Scorpio so that we can clear off, the density, the matter that's not serving us. So it forces all of us to go look inside, deal with the stuff, even this infection that I have right now, like that's so Scorpio, it's so Plutonic, like it's very Martian, like with Mars, it's so, okay, of course, it's been probably 8-9 weeks since the surgery, and all of a sudden now I have an infection. Like, it's like, of course it happens during Scorpio season, because
it's literally like the density coming out of you.
absolutely. I know it's purging other stuff in my body as well. And it's like, okay, great. So good. Do what you need to do.
Yeah. I'm a like air sign stallion, so I hate Scorpio season. Well, I kind of love it, but it's very like, oh, what are these feelings that I have to feel this week?
I know you haven't been doing well at all.
Yeah, I think honestly, I see it every year that I've been consciously like watching it, and Scorpio season, everyone loves it because they think it's super sexy, and like everyone wants to be a Scorpio that's not a Scorpio, and all the Scorpios are like, fuck off, you don't even understand what I deal with, right? So it's super intense, but like it forces us to go through, and we're diving deep into the abyss. So now's the time. It's time to get naked, really, and in all levels, because like that's what Scorpio does. It doesn't care about the surface.
I was like, I don't think I've ever wanted to be a Scorpio. I've definitely wanted to have sex with them, but like, not
everyone either wants to be one or have sex with one. Yes.
Or like
yes.
Scorpio Mars. I'm like, okay.
Yes. I'm sure that would be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been like a really crazy week. Like I don't know if like for yourself, but like just the energy and like the things coming through and like the channeling has been insane for me this week. But like,
and I mean, it also has to do with that we're in eclipse season, and I shared that at the last full moon, the portal opened, and I say this every single time because there's always new people following me, and I get it. They don't always know. So I have to repeat myself over and over again. That's just what I've seen is my day job. What do? I just repeat myself over and over again until people get it.
Lady always says that. She's like, no one ever listens, so I have to repeat myself.
But then I actually found out in my human design, my like purpose, I forgot what it's called. It's like purpose or something, I'm like ahead of the curve, and I'm a freak to genius. And so I say things and people don't get it. So I have to repeat it, and then they finally get it.
Yeah. It's like people aren't ready to like integrate that information. What is your human design?
Yeah. What is my human design?
Yeah.
I am, let me just finish this thing I want to say, because I lost my train of thought too. I stopped in the middle. But it's because we're in eclipse season, and so that's opening up new portals, and there's so much change coming. So things are speeding up and kind of just happening for us. So that's what's happening. But to go back to answer your question, I am a mental projector, and I'm a 4/6. Yeah. My entire body is open, which makes it I'm like a reflector. But my third eye and my ajna and my throat are closed. So, but my entire body is open. And mental projectors are actually more sensitive than reflectors, because reflectors actually have something in their auric field to help them. But mental projectors were just all open from the throat down.
So that's why
it's fun being on Earth, let me tell you.
that why it manifests in your body in terms of like ailments and stuff?
That's why I've learned, in 2017, when I went through my health crisis, it was contracted for me so I can learn about being in my body. So during that, I learned that even though I'm very strong and I say no when I need to, I was saying no, but my body was still absorbing because that's just, my body is so open. So I was like, no. And so like someone might walk away, but yet my body took in all their energy still. Right. So that was a important lesson for me to learn. And, I would definitely went through hell with my health crisis, but it was contracted. So I am grateful for it because I learned so much. And that's where I'm going to be moving into more, even throughout the years, of more healing people's body with codes and whatnot. So I'm learning, Spirit's teaching me right now. So I'm in school myself. So
I think that is another reason why I was like so attracted to you as well. Like in terms of, I feel like my body does the same thing in terms of like absorbing a lot. And it's been, like the last 20 years I've had to like sort of really master being in my body and like learning how to like protect it. And like currently it's almost like my upgrades have been like, I feel like I've got like a giant hole in the back of my heart. And it's like, someone close my hole. Like literally just need to like lie on the ground or like a tree to like try and feel like it's closed over.
Yeah, just send it beautiful white light, violet light, golden light from the divine, call on whoever you want to and just fill it up with pure divine love.
Yeah, I need to like master that shit. It's like I'm like too scared to go
that's
out.
what you're here for. That's what we're all learning. So
yeah, absolutely. I wonder if it's because your human design, like I think your heart center's open. I wonder if that's got anything to do with it.
That might be it. I'm like, I do love the telepathy things. I
do love it.
That's from the heart portal, isn't it?
Just with like human design and astrology, do you reckon they work hand in hand together, or one is more accurate than the other?
No, I'm glad you asked that because, when you understand what being a mystic is, and they're all tools. So no, I don't believe that one is better than the other. I think every tool complements each other. That's why people are like, well, what's more accurate, Western or Vedic astrology? And I will never tell you one's more accurate, because anyone who says that is not, to me, in my opinion, they're not a true mystic. They don't understand the tools of the universe, because that's just ego, because you're comparing. So glad you asked that, because I know there's a lot of other people that are going to be asking. I know basic astrology. I know basic astrology. I know astrology. I know basic human design. And so sometimes, I'll ask that if I'm doing a reading and I want to find out more, but I don't study human design. I just wasn't called to me. Astrology I've done many lifetimes. But yes, they overlap, they complement each other. And, they're just, it's all different colors of the rainbow.
Oh, absolutely. Really. I love human design. Like for me, it was quite easy to read and understand. Not that I've gone deep in it, but I've gone deep into my own chart. And just even with the channels and stuff between certain centers, like means something. And it is so interesting. Like I could read about it for hours.
Whereas like for me, I'm like, human design doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, astrology. It's
funny because human design is harder for me to get.
Yes.
But astrology was like a joke how easy it was for me, because my soul just remembered it, So, but I get that with human design. I'm like, it's very heady. It's very like mental,
Yeah.
So everyone just has a different take on it.
In this lifetime, how long have you been doing astrology for? Like when were you first called to it?
Yeah, 13 years now.
13
years.
Which
is still not a lot compared to some astrologers, but I started doing readings within a couple years, because I literally just, I had my awakening at 30, and a lot of my gifts started coming out. And then I did have to learn astrology. So I spent many, many hours a day studying, but it was really just me remembering it and kind of like coding it back in. And then I just got it quickly. I remember being so I taught myself astrology. And then after that, I started taking teachers here and there, just like random classes. And I remember being in this one class, and there was one chart that they were showing us, and she basically wanted us to be like, what do you think happened to this? It was like a mystery guest, right? And what do you think happened at this time? And like nobody was guessing it, but I heard it. Spirit just told me, and I'm like, oh, that's when she got married. And the teacher was like, how did you know that? And I'm like, well, spirit just told me. And so like, that's the thing is like, I've always just done astrology a little differently. Like, yes, I had to study it, but I was also using my abilities as well. And it was Chiron was doing something and I didn't even know what Chiron was at the time. And she's like, we haven't even talked about Chiron. And I'm like, well, spirit just told me. So
It's like, what the hell? I can't teach this girl anything. She already knows.
Yeah, no, I was like, spirit just told me. So I'm like, yeah.
It's like your past lives being like, this is the answer.
yeah, totally. I just heard it. She got married then. Okay, so I'm like, she got married then.
That's so cool. I love that.
It was like I had to phone the friend, but my phone the friend was like, a spirit guide.
Yeah. They've already done the test before.
Totally.
Did you know that did you have like knowledge of that channeling before your awakening? Like, was it always there and you just didn't realize, or did it only start?
This is really good for people to hear, because I think a lot of people think like, oh, if I had these gifts, I would be born with it. And then you hear a lot of mediums, they're like, oh, I was, seeing ghosts and spirits since I was a baby. I will say, I had to really think about this and look back. And there was one incident I had when I was very young. And I remember like at the time I didn't know, and I shut it down because I was so scared. But now like really going back and seeing like, did I have any experiences? I had one experience where, because my third eye is very open and it's opening more and more, but it was. And I think there's a fear, not like a conscious fear, but a subconscious fear because of how capable I am and how big it is. And I remember being a kid laying in bed and seeing literally this image like come to life on my wall in front of me. And it was like, it would look like it was a cartoon situation. And I remember being so scared and just like, like that, and pulling the covers over my head. And I like, don't even think I took like a conscious breath like that whole night. And that was the only thing. And I like shut that down even more. So when I turned 30, I wasn't trying to have a spiritual awakening. Trust me, I didn't even know anything about the words. This was 13 years ago. So like, it wasn't cool. This wasn't online. There was like no Instagram at the time, there was no TikTok, for fuck's sake. Sure. No, like this was like old news. Okay. And like Facebook was like not that cool. I mean, Facebook is not cool, but like, it was not even like, it was like,
not a thing.
Yeah. Like there was nobody to talk to. So nobody was talking about this stuff. And but it was my time. I had a massive awakening. It started with dreams and then it started with seeing spirits. And I just started really just coming in tune with who I am and my soul. And then it just became a knowing and became hearing and sensing, and spirit guided me to meditate. And I started meditating, and it was just really this beautiful experience. And I'm like, whoa, like I'm seeing a world that I didn't know existed. Like literally one day, all of a sudden, like if there is there's like a book here, right? They just took the book down, and then there was a world that I didn't know existed. And I'm like, most of what we see in the world is like 2% of what's going on. Right. And so that was a shock. And then I met someone at this horrible job that like everything is contracted. I had to be there. And I met someone that introduced me to astrology. And that night I went home and studied it, and I never stopped. And I was, it started with astrology. Now, I mean, it's so much more. Once you get to know my work, you'll see it's so much more than astrology. But that was like, I call it my gateway drug. That was what got me in. Right. And they knew I needed to start with that because I'm very logical and I've done this before. So it was like an easy in for me to this realm and to this world. I mean, now, like, honestly, the stuff that, and I don't say this to sound obnoxious, I say this to give people hope. The stuff I'm channeling and doing right now blows my mind compared to like Danielle, who started this years ago, right? I would have never thought. And then I'm going to tell you the stuff I'm going to be channeling in 13 years from now, 14 years, whatever, is going to be even more amazing. But that just shows that this all happens when our soul is ready, not when, I couldn't have told you at 28. First of all, I didn't know about this, but even if I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this, like it wasn't going to be my time. For me, it just needed to happen at 30.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people, it happens at 30. Is that to do with your Saturn return, like coming into like a new era or purpose?
Yeah,
or
definitely. Yeah, definitely had to do with Saturn return. And by the way, I made a Saturn return astro hack that everyone should get.
It was amazing.
I actually saw that. I was like, I need to get it.
Yeah, I walk you through learning about Saturn in your birth chart and your Saturn return. So it doesn't matter how old you are. because we have 3 Saturn returns in our life too. And so I talk about that, and then you just learn where your Saturn is. But yes, Saturn return happens around 28.5, 29, 30 for everyone, depends on their birth chart. And that's where we go through a cycle where we really understand that we shift into what we're here to become. Okay. So this is why a lot of people get married around 30, or get divorced around 30, or have a baby around 30, or quit a job, or, you know, they just go into a different direction, or they might move across the world, across the country, or they have an existential crisis of, what am I here for? What am I doing? Right. This is a real thing, because Saturn, yes. And it's totally normal. I mean, that's what I went through too. But I also had, for the people that really know astrology, I also had Pluto on my ascendant at the same time. And I also had Uranus conjunct my Venus. So I had 3 major things going on at once for me to really just wake up into the truth of who I am.
That's amazing though. So you're like pushed into it. You're like, this is your time.
Oh, I was
we're not waiting anymore.
into it. The universe literally picked me up from my old life, ripped out everything from my old life. I was living in Boston, doing interior architecture, working at one of the top firms in the world. I was living with my boyfriend in Boston, and he dumped me in France on my 30th birthday. I hated my job because I just knew that I wasn't here to do that, but I had no idea what to do. I just kept saying I need to help people, but like, what the hell does that mean, right? And so I moved out from Boston after he broke up with me. I moved back to California. I was living with my parents. People were getting married. I was living with my parents at 30, crying over my breakup, having zero money. And you know, that's when the economy tanked. So 2008, I always forget it's 2008, 2009, but that's when the economy tanked. So there were no design jobs. I was literally interning. Do you know who Kelly Wersler is? I love her work.
No, I don't.
You have to look her up. She's amazing, amazing designer. So I was interning after I had my master's degree and working at one of the top firms. I was interning for free, driving an hour and a half in LA traffic each day just to work for her, because she, excuse me, she's so amazing. And I was working at a horrible temp job, but she ended up having to let everyone go because, or most people in the office, because of the economy, right? Her projects weren't coming to fruition because nobody was building anything. So, you know, it was a very interesting experience. And that's when I had my awakening, and I wasn't supposed to be in design anyways. Like, I love it. I can't wait to do my house when I move one day. But for me, that was more of a hobby rather than my purpose in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they're so savage. You're
Yeah,
like, you couldn't have just like pushed me. It was like
so savage. I'm like, could you have like maybe have a not break up with me in France? Like, how
right
about
on your 30th, like that you're gonna remember forever. It's just like,
I know,
so
I'm over it now, but yes, it's very funny. I had a beautiful 40th birthday. That was amazing. I was on a yacht with all my friends, and it was just so amazing. So yeah, I definitely made up for it.
With like soul contracts and stuff, like, do you like, you know how, like, I guess like we have certain things in place, like how much control over certain, like, in between do you think we have?
So I'm going to say something that a lot of spiritual teachers, or whatever you want to call it, might not say. I don't have the exact answer because everyone's journey is so incredibly different. But what I will say is we do come here with contracts, and we have purpose, and we have mission, and we have direction. And within that, we have wiggle room. I would have not, like, for me, I'm not meant to be an accountant. I'm not meant to be a hairdresser. I'm not meant to be, like, this was my path. Do something with spirituality, do something with consciousness. Like, this is what I came for. So, but when you're aligned, it feels right. Like, I had no money, had no idea what I was doing. Spirit was talking to me. I'm like, what the hell, Spirit? Literally trying to figure out my life. Think I'm not crazy, right? Seeing ghosts. And in all that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, this is what I'm here for, right? Even in all that, because I'm like, it felt so good in my soul that I haven't felt with anything else. Yeah. I was like, fuck it, I literally was like, I don't give a shit if people think I'm crazy. I'm like, I am so happy. Like, because it was this lock and load thing that just happened. Like, it was like locked and loaded. And I was like, yep, I'm on track. Like, this is me, even though confusion and tears. And I literally I share this a lot with people because I think it's really important. I didn't have money for a long time because I know, like, right now there's a lot of like people that come online and they make six figures in like a couple months and they've never done it. And I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't my journey. I had to learn. First of all, I was teaching myself astrology. I was going through my awakening. I was learning the online world and learning marketing, then learning funnels, then learning I needed to get an assistant, right? When I even had enough money to afford an assistant, right? So my journey took me a long time. And it's like, I went from $7 literally at one point in my checking account at the gas station, like not even being able to fill up my car and crying at the gas station, to now. And I share this not to brag. I mean, because I'm still in my apartment, I didn't get that house, but I just put in an offer in like a multi-million-dollar house. And I'm saying that to show people, like, don't give up with your purpose, because I mean, it took me a long time, you know, I'm not 20 saying this, I'm 43, and really developed this beautiful career for myself, but it took so much time for me. Now, everyone's journey is different, but I just really want to give people hope that when you're aligned with your journey, like it's inevitable, like you're going to be successful.
I think that's like so, like, I love that you touched on that now as well, because I feel like a lot of the collective are like in that limbo, like no man's land, like not loving their 3D job, so to speak, and like really wanting
I get it.
take the 5D step, or and it's that like that holding on to the old as well. It's like the safety, it's like not wanting to like move forward. And I think I think giving people hope that feeling of being in alignment is just going to serve, versus holding on to, it's like, who needed to hear this today? Me.
It will, but we have to get
me as well.
Clear. Yeah, we have to get very clear and listen, you know. And that's the thing, is I always tell people, they're like, well, how did you know? And even when I was broke, I didn't even watch the illusion. Like, I ignored the illusion because I didn't think I was ever poor. I was, but I didn't see myself as poor because it was just a temporary situation. I like to share that a lot with people. Mm-hmm. If I would have created a story of like, oh, I'm poor and oh, I'm this, then that's where we get stuck in the stories. I'm like, no, I'm building a business, and I'm like, this is not easy, you know. Like, I literally was so scared to buy like soap at CVS. I was like counting all my cash and like pulling out the coupons. Like, I mean, literally, I was scared. Like, I didn't know how I was going to pay, you know, electric bill at night sometimes. But you just have to trust the information that's coming through. If I was doing that, but still like everything was happening and I kept getting sick, and let's just say it was horrible. Wow, 2 like eagles or whatever, just crows, just flew over right when I was saying that. Like, is that beautiful?
Do you know, that's so wild? I have been stalked by crows this week.
Really?
I mean, there were just 2 at the same time. That was beautiful.
Amazing.
Wow.
I love that.
Anyways, I don't know what I was saying, but you just like, we know when it's right. We just know. That doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. I think that's a thing. It can be, it doesn't have to be hard, but there are certain things that we have to go through. Like, it's just and it goes back to your question, the soul contract, you know. I found out that my soul contracted the illness, and I went through hell. I mean, honestly, like Lyme, Epstein-Barr, mold, fungus, candida, parasites, heavy metals. I mean, I was in bed for a year, crawling on the ground, slurring my words, brain fog so bad I couldn't even look at astrology charts. I remember one time I literally relaunched one of my courses to pay for my medical bills. And I was like in bed, but I was just relaunching it because it's already done. And it was a great program, but I literally relaunched it just to pay for my medical bills. Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's just wild. But
was that in 2017?
That was for my highest good.
Was that 2017?
Yeah, I got sick in 2017, but I probably relaunched that. Yeah, but end of 2017 or 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
I know, it's just wild, but that's where it's like, there are things on the earth plane that are not fair to us and our human perception, right? Like, people have gone through abuse, people have gone through really horrible, horrendous things. And we are like, well, why would I ask for that? And you know, there's just different journeys and there's different situations. Like, what is the lesson that we need to learn from this, you know? And I'm about to go through a really hard transit. And I mean, to be honest, I tell everyone not to be scared of astrology, but if I'm honest, I'm a little scared because this is probably like the one transit you don't want. And I have Pluto coming to my moon for a couple of years. And I'm like, that shit is going to be crazy. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
No, I'm like,
I'm literally like, that's when you're just like, I already know, like, it's like dark night of the soul over and over and over again. So there's going to be tears shed for sure. Like, there's just no doubt about that.
I think though, like being aware of it makes you feel
Yes.
a little more in
Yes.
control of the situation. Like for me, I like to
Totally.
make sense of everything. So it's like knowing, you know, my placements, other people's placements, the transits, like it makes me feel like I know why I'm going through or feeling a certain way. And I always have thought like information is power. So that's why I'm always like, it's hard to have a conversation with me without bringing it to astrology. Like I'm so annoying. I'm like that.
Like
girl.
that's because of your
That's
Pluto.
because-
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true. I mean, yes, you know, I didn't know astrology when I had my awakening in the beginning. So I didn't know Pluto was on my ascendant. But now if I talk to someone or if I saw Pluto on the ascendant, it's like, oh God, you're basically the old you is going to die. So just like have the funeral now
like-
because get ready for the new one.
Straight
Yeah.
to time passages.
Yeah. So, you know, yes, having knowledge of it and being able to work through it with like mantra and prayer and higher consciousness, like that's what I'm going to have to do. And that's just it.
You keep saying about that a soul contract. Like, how did you find yours out? Is it in your astrology chart, your soul contract, or?
Oh, my illness?
Yeah, like how you said,
Oh,
it's
no.
part of my
Well,
contract.
yes and no. Yeah, I mean, Saturn was on my ascendant when I first got sick, and Saturn on the ascendant could be chronic conditions, so more long term. So that was there, but that's just from spirit. I mean, they've been guiding me through the whole thing. They're the ones that like, when I started with Western medicine and it just made me so sick, they finally were like, stop. And then they put me in another direction and they sent me on that path. And that's why I've learned so much about the body, which I'm so happy. I learned so much about health, the body detox and everything before we had all the COVID stuff. So just because like I understand about the body, I would have never known half of this stuff, like what to take, how to detox, you know, what, you know, how to open your pathways, like just, I mean, it's like a whole new language now that I've learned.
Yeah.
I think also there's going to be like a shift towards that in the coming years, right? Like,
Quantum healing is where we're going.
I've had the same sort of health, like having to learn how to like manage or like rebuild my autoimmune and, you know, again, like the lymphatic drainage pathways was like so integral.
That's everything.
It's like, it's actually so integral. It was like the one thing that with being in lockdown in Melbourne, like the saunas closing was like literally the one thing that I was like, oh my God, I should have bought one. Like I should have just bought a
Totally.
Like, I regret, like, because like, it was only supposed to be like a week and they just kept adding
Order
weight.
the sleeping bag one if you need, you know, people do that one.
I was worried about the EMF on that. Like,
There's one of them. I can try to find out the name. I don't know which one it is. There's one where the EMF is better. But if you need like that situation, because sometimes you just need it. Like if you're sick and you need to sweat it out, right? That's really important.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just like liquid, like just hold on to, so it was like so integral in my own healing as well. But I think that's another reason I was like so attracted to your Cosmic Body podcast as well, guys. Everyone listen to the Cosmic Body. But yeah, it was just like so, it helped connect a lot of the dots in my own journey as well. But yeah, it's just insane. And I think a lot of people will start to learn how to do that soon. So it's it's exciting.
That's what's happening. Yeah. That's why all the healers, so like anyone that's listening, if you're doubting yourself and you're like, well, I think I want to do healing. No, we need you because this is where we're going. You're part of the new earth. So we need you.
Guys, start your engines.
Totally. Move your ego out of the way. Work on yourself. Heal yourself. Heal the limited beliefs. Like get that shit out of the way because that's not you.
Yeah.
We need you. We need all the healers.
What are your cheat codes for the collective in 2022? Wait, what are we? Oh my God.
2020.
Let's not go back to 2020.
Yeah, like that bitch is gone. We ain't going back.
Go then.
Oh, Jesus, no.
I don't know. Thank you. Oh my God. Imagine repeating that loop. Like how horrible
that. I'd tap out. I'd be like, nope.
Well, I would know what to do. All I did was eat and cook. So like, I would definitely would not eat as much as I did. So I would definitely learn that lesson and do it the right way.
Fasted and walked. I literally, like, I spent the whole 2020 fasting and walking.
Fasting is great. I spent it all eating. I mean, it was like by the end in August of 2020, I literally couldn't fit into any of my clothes. And I'm like, I need an intervention. And that was it. Like, I got that under control. I was like, that is it. It was not healthy. It wasn't good.
I spent the whole of 2020 in the shower. I like didn't get out basically. I was like, nope, not coming out. My partner was like, you okay? I was like, I'm fine, leave me alone.
I just spent this week in the shower actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you got to, you know?
Yeah.
So for
'cause-
2022, I'm actually just writing the 2022 blueprint right now. So I'm going through and learning everything. But I will say is that there is a lot of, it's a lot of Scorpio, Pluto energy. And there's a lot of things that are going to be coming to the surface. And we're going to be like revelations about things. We're going to be having disclosures. Things are going to come out, things that were hidden. Listen, not everything, because you have to look at who owns the media. So like half that stuff is not going to come out, but a lot more than it has absolutely be coming out. People are going to be like, oh my God, I had no idea. And we're going to be like, we tried to tell you, but all you do is yell at us the whole time.
Actually.
But here we are, kumbaya, let's all go together, right? So it's going to be a lot of that. A lot of deep transformation. Not to scare people, but I really think there was going to be a lot of death. I really do, because you have the South Node in Pluto, and that is literal and figurative as well. And so that is a lot of people leaving. What I'm getting intuitively is just that 2022 is a turning point where there's going to be a lot of people checking out. They're done, and their souls, just don't want to continue on. And this is not to scare people. You're not just going to drop dead. So I don't want people to think that, right? It's just, people that have been dealing with stuff and they know there's going to be some changes. And of course it's going to be sad because we're here to deal with it. But a lot of people are deciding to leave. There's also going to be a big strength in what are our values, because the North Node's in Taurus. So what is important to us? We're going to be activating our gifts more. We're going to be working a lot with the land. We're going to be doing a lot of more planting, more gardening, more food. They're definitely going to try to mess up the food supply even more, and we're going to have to find new ways to do it. So it's going to be very interesting. But yes, I will have the 2022 blueprint out soon. And
I have to say the 2021 one was epic. I
oh, thank you.
Yeah,
honestly,
like,
every single person should buy that, because they ask me all the time, what's coming up? And I'm like, well, I did it. Did you buy it? It's not like, you're not going to go broke by buying it either. Stop getting Starbucks.
It honestly, it was like, again, like I love to,
I think it was 44 and then moved up to 55 afterwards. So $44. Come on, people. I'm making this affordable.
Also, like, cheat code for the year, guys. Like, seriously.
I know. And half the stuff I talked about, I said, did you see I made that reel? I did it in January of last year. And I said there's going to be stuff with airlines. And I showed that part on the reel, and the protests that were coming up with the Saturn Uranus square. I mean, all this stuff. This is why none of this shit shocks me, because we know it's,
This is the thing, right? So like people that are like, oh, I don't believe in astrology. And it's like, yeah, cool. But like, we can totally like we don't have to raw dog life basically. And it's also like,
totally.
Well, and it's like all this shit was like not predicted, but like predicted. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a surprise for people that understand.
Here's the thing. In 2019, I looked at the astrology for 2020. And at that time, I was mainly more focused on just birth charts. So I really wasn't doing a lot of predictive work. But people are like, you should look at that for 2020. Like astrologers were talking. But I'm like, but what are they talking about? So I wanted to look. And once I saw some of the same aspects as 9/11, and then I started doing research, and it was some of the same aspects as World War I, World War II, which is basically we're in World War III right now. That's what's happening, right? And the HIV/AIDS pandemic. And I saw that, and the Spanish flu, and I'm like, oh shit. So then I did in November of 2019, I should post that again. I should repost it. I didn't want to scare people and talk about 9/11 or the wars. But I basically came on a Instagram story, and I was like, you guys, there's some shit that's going to go down, and it's not going to be pretty, and the universe is going to get our attention. And I'm like, yeah, just looking at some calculations. And I remember being like, I don't even know what to say because I don't want to scare people. So did I know it was going to be a illness, a virus? No. I probably would have been able to figure that out. I think now, knowing what I know now about stuff, but I didn't at the time because I wasn't really doing predictive work, but I did see that it was going to be a shit show. That's why I kept telling people, I'm like, it is going to be the biggest shit show. And you just have, and everyone's like, no, 2020 vision. I'm like, fuck off. It's going to be the biggest shit show. Like, you have no idea.
Well, it's so funny because like I remember people saying it in 2019, but it was so out there that I was like, oh, I don't believe that. Like, you know, I was like, oh, like I don't think it's gonna. And then it was like, oh fuck, like they were right. Like, it was so accurate.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll never
Yeah.
take astrology for granted ever again. I'm like, it knows
No,
everything.
astrology is so beautiful. I mean, it's just setting the tone for it's basically astrology is the matrix. And so, and we're in the matrix, whether we like it or not. And so it's not going to rule your life, but it's going to show the cycles. And because, I mean, I'm sorry, but most of the world is, you know, asleep at the wheel. They're just, you could see the puppet string. So is the puppet string going to pull to the right or the left? So now I know people are going the right or the left. I mean, you just see how people are going to react.
Yeah.
Like
think that's
obviously
why-
we've gone. Oh, sorry, you go, honey.
Yeah, no, I think that's why I was like so drawn to astrology, like A, being like boy crazy, and B, like in the service industry. So I was always like, what's your chart? So I could like, you know, like see how to not just like see how to best serve, you know,
Yeah.
my clients.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, we've obviously gone through quite a mass awakening. You know, there's a lot more people waking up to things and seeing things for
Yes.
what they are. Was that in like astrology? Were you able to see like that was coming? Is that like the age of Aquarius sort of thing?
Well, that and the Saturn Uranus square, like in the blueprint, remember I said, I'm like, as I was writing it, I said, I got to hit that this is going to wake people up. It's the Saturn Uranus squares because it's the clash. It's like vax, anti-vax, Democrat, Republican, all the bullshit, which doesn't even matter anyways, right? But it's going to come to a head. So when it comes to a head, it's going to force people to wake up to really see what's going on.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
100%.
That's amazing.
Would you say with every solar like eclipse season as well, like there's like another wave of people too?
Oh yeah. We're about to get rocked. Yeah. So it's
I've
November
already-
19th and December 4th.
So say it again, December 19th.
November 19th and December 4th.
Oh, how many?
So that
how
week
many
building
sleeps
up.
is that?
Really.
I know. I'm like, what's the date today? It's the 5th of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that,
5th,
that week building up
2
is
weeks.
going to be a little
It's so
intense,
funny. Even like the last week or so, like even like the last couple of weeks, I've noticed like timeline shifts with like the collective, like having like little timeline jumps, and you know, people.
100%. I actually have a text with one of my healers, and I said, I'm just going to read you what I said right here. I said to her, we were talking about stuff, and I said, also, side note, there's something up with energy today. Almost feels like timelines have been tampered with. Does that make sense at all? I literally said it to her yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's honestly
Yeah,
like
yeah.
time has been so weird for me. Like
Weird.
so
Yes.
weird. Like I cannot even like explain. I've just like trying to like ride the waves, but like I've noticed like friends that I didn't think would be waking up are like waking up, and like you're
Thank
like,
you,
"Oh."
God. We need you. I
I was like, I gave up on you. Like,
know. It's so great that you're here. I just totally gave up on you.
welcome to 5D. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I remember
wild
that
time.
morning, the other like few days ago, I was on the phone to Lainey and I was like, my house is full of plants. I love like plant medicine and stuff. So I've got lettuce growing on my kitchen
Aw.
windowsill, and I would just put the little like bottom of it in, like no leaves. And I woke up in the morning and there was like heaps of like leaves overnight, and they were like big. And I was like, this is when
Oh.
Lainey's like timeline shift.
Totally.
I was
No,
like,
there's
whoa.
something, but it also feels like it's man-made. Like I feel like energetically it's being tampered with. I could feel a little bit of the dark energy too. So
It's interesting you say that. Like I'm a huge, like I follow the space weather and the Schumann resonance and all of those things, like to the point where it's probably like a little bit obsessive, but like I'm always like, I can feel something, and then I'm like, oh, sure enough. Or like I can like feel like when there's like a collective announcement and everyone's like losing their shit as well, because if it's not on the chart. But yeah, it's just insane how like I guess, yeah, like I love that you actually said that. Like, do you think that they do that often?
oh, I think there's so many things that people don't even realize. They're like, there's no way. And I'm like, no, you just don't know. You just don't know. And we're also very magical, and we know how to shift things, you know? There's a lot going on, but yes, there's also time is speeding up. It happens around the eclipses. There's dark energy. Look at what they're doing in the world right now. Like none of this stuff, like this is all happening because of interference.
Yeah.
It's all interference. So
I like to think that
there's like that the light is winning though. I'm always like, no, everything's fine, guys.
Well, I mean, the reality is, you know, light is strong, but dark energy is strong too. And that's why we have to continually put intention, continually be in our heart, continually understand what's really going on, see the narrative for what it is. You know, if we just stay there and like lay in bed and be like, everything's fine, then honestly, like it'll be a disaster. You know, it's really consciously us, you know, but there's different people. Like some people are on the front lines and have to be out like with signs in the street doing protests. Like, and then there's some people that are the energy workers anchoring in the grid. Like I've learned that about me. Yes, I can be very vocal online, but my energy does not call for me standing outside holding a sign and screaming, because I'm going to be inside literally holding down and anchoring in the light and like sending it on the way and cutting cords for people. So, you know, everyone just has to find what is their magic. But we need it all. Really.
I'm so glad you said that, because I did want to touch on that as well. I think a lot of people who are awake but too scared to speak up, like them knowing that, you know, they don't have to be on the street, but like doing like their piece. But like, what would you say in terms of like, in the beginning, I was like, guys, like wake up, where I've like lately I've been sort of reserving my energy a little bit more for people that are a bit more receptive versus, you know, doing it every day online. What would your advice be to people that are like in that, trying to find their feet about how to do it?
I mean, I think you just need to try things. Like, I think that's how we learn in life. Just try whatever, see what works. And then you'll know like, oh, yeah, this doesn't resonate. Like, I think I'm better over here. And I just think that when we listen to our soul, we'll know, you know, but there's a time and a place for everything, you know? So I just think get out there and do everything. And that's how you learn, especially people in their 20s, like 30s, get out there and try everything. Yeah. I feel like I know who I am a lot more now because I've done everything crazy that I needed to do in my 20s and 30s, right? But I learned from that, you know, like I did some crazy shit. So I don't regret any of it, but that's how I know myself so deeply now.
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Yeah. Got to jump in the deep end, hey?
So yeah, like how do we know? When we don't know, how do we know?
Yeah. Very true. Very, very true.
So we should be trying to wake more people up then.
No, I don't think we try to wake people up. I think we speak our truth and stand in our power and our vibration, and that vibration wakes people up. We cannot force or try to wake people up. We just become the light. We are the lighthouse.
Yeah. Love it. Definitely. Yeah. There's one thing that I really wanted to touch on. So in one of your lives, you were saying like when you went in for your explant surgery, which you like walked into the surgery room to like really like claim the fact that it was your decision, which is amazing. I think that's so beautiful. But you said you're laying on the hospital bed and looking up at the ceiling and you're like, shit, this reminds me of when I was abducted by aliens.
I was like 100%.
Can you expand on that? I was like, and you just don't say anything else. And I was like, I want to know what happened.
I have a whole podcast on my abduction.
Oh, do you? I have to listen to it.
I remember listening to that week, and then I did like the moon circle, and then in the moon circle, I started seeing things, and I was like, oh my god, like.
Yeah, and then I'm an activator, and I open people's portals. Like that's one thing I've learned. I am a full-on activator for people.
Yeah, I have to say, like every single course or moon circle I've done, or like there was like the downloads that have like come through the class, or like after, like actually that the alien thing, like I had to, it was almost like I shut down, and it wasn't until like 5 days later that I was like, oh, that just happened. Like
yeah.
I'm only so intrigued because
if you're ready for your activations, literally sign up to everything that she does. She's incredible.
I know. Now I'm nervous because the other week there was a like UFO outside my house when I got home from work at night, and I was like, skirt. I like videoed it, and I was like,
oh my god,
basically shut down. I was like, it's not what I think it is. It's not what I think it is. And one of my best friend's husband is like basically calls them in. They like follow him everywhere. He's like, yeah, that's them. I send him the video. He's like, yeah, babe, that's fucking UFO.
Oh, you have to send me the video. I want to see.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I've got it on my phone. I told Lainey the next day.
I go over the abduction, and the thing is, so I've been working with a medical intuitive, not the same one that was on my podcast, a different one now, who's helped me so much on my journey. And she's so in tune. And I actually talked to her because when we were doing a session, she's like, wait a minute. She's like, we can't continue on because she's like, the Greys are spying on you. And I'm like, that's who abducted me. And I said to her, I'm like, listen, there are parts of me that sometimes feel like, did I make this up about the abduction? Because it's so far out there and it happened. It was so traumatizing. And she said, oh no, honey. She's like, they did that. And she's like, they spy on you because they're intrigued by your gifts that still haven't even come out yet. So I'm like still opening up my gifts. And so she had to close them out. And it was interesting that day. I felt super sad. I didn't feel right. I told my best friend, I'm like, I don't know, I just don't feel like myself. And I remember doing a story on Instagram and someone was like, oh my God, look at the face on your bedspread. Oh, I have to sneeze 1 second.
I remember that day.
Excuse me. Speaking truth into the world, right? That's what
Yeah.
So I look and there's literally a face imprint of the gray alien on my bed the same day that they got rid of them. And she's like, they're pissed that we found out that they're spying. And I was like, oh my God, I was super upset, like sad because the energy was heavy. They were like, doing stuff. So it's crazy. She's like, oh no, you did not make this up. And I'm like, I know, because I suppressed it because it happened when I was young. And then I had night terrors after it. And then it was like I think that with that thing that I saw on my wall, like I closed down and there was so much fear there,
So the abduction happened when you were a child.
when I was little. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All I remember is like, and I actually forgot about it for many years. And then with the Periscope days, do you guys know Periscope? It was like years ago.
Periscope.
Yeah. You guys are too young. There was like, Periscope was like a big thing. It was like the lives, but like you could interact. Anyways, it was like a short-lived 2-year thing. So I was doing a lot of videos on Periscope, and this one girl was talking about aliens, and I swear to God, all of a sudden she talked about it. I was like, ding, and like it all started coming back. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, I just remember literally being on the table, being so scared, and they were just like experimenting on me. And now it makes sense when she said they're intrigued by me. Like they're not trying to hurt me, they're not going to do anything, but they definitely probably microchip me. And they definitely like they're watching me because they're intrigued by my gifts. So like when I go to Sedona now, I don't try to find them and call on them. I'm like, fuck no, they're with me all the time. If you want them, we could just have a little party and ask them to show up, because I'm like, I don't need to go search for them. I'm like, get the fuck away from me, actually.
They like literally showed up for me that week. I was just
yeah.
that I was like delving into that stuff, and I was like, oh no.
The Greys are mixed because there's some good Greys and then there's some not so good. Some Greys are really like messed up, like reptilian, like they're like hybrids, but that you have that with people too. So listen, I don't do anything of like the dark. I don't do work with that, but they're just a species that are intrigued with me because they've seen my soul for many lifetimes. So and there's access to things that they don't have. They don't have an emotional body like we have. They don't have a heart like we have. I know, and like my gifts all come through my heart. That's why I'm supposed to work with a lot of heart energy in this lifetime. It's like, it's an activated heart. So yeah, it's interesting.
Wow.
It's so wild. Like one of my other friends was actually saying the same, like they do the same to her through the mirror. Like they visit her through, and it's like so surreal for like people to like
totally
get their head around, but
people
like,
don't get it. They think it's crazy. And I'm like, oh, you just have no idea. Like, it's fine. You don't have to get it. And like,
I think
it's just like, we're still here literally like making your life better for you. We're like taking care of the stuff for Earth because the Muggles don't know. But
it's like, you don't even know what we're doing for you.
What?
It's like, you don't even know what we're doing for you.
You don't even know what you were doing for you, but we're still doing it. Even though you yell at us online, you call us names, like we got humanity. Don't worry. We're fine. It doesn't matter because like, it's just your ego. And we know that you need a hug. Anything, you need a big hug.
Oh my God, so true.
It's like, you might think we're crazy, but we really do love you.
Yeah, like we got you. Like, you have no idea how much we got you. So just do whatever you need to do. We're gonna still keep doing it too.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going through that stage now where like I'm starting to speak like more and more of my truth just openly, because like whatever, do you know what I mean? Like
totally,
that's what we're all here for. And I feel like this is like where people are like, oh, she got crazy.
Totally. And the friends that you've had before are gonna say that for sure, because they're still stuck in the same paradigm. And you would just bless them and just go on and do your thing. And then you're gonna find, like, right now, my entire community, all my friends, I mean, we're just, and listen, it is important to have friends with different opinions, but like my true friends and the people that like my community, like we're all on the same wavelength. We
You
get
have
it.
to
And
be
that's
right now.
important. That's important because, and some of them do like wild things that would look crazy. And I'm like, oh, that's just like him being him. And like, that's just who he is. And like, just, it's an accepting people for who they are, you know? And that's just like, that's cool.
Yeah. I feel like I'm quite sensitive to what people, like I can feel what people think about me. So
Oh, for sure.
they could be on the other side of the world and I can feel in that moment what they're thinking
Right,
about
and
me.
then
It
you know
like
what you
comes
do?
into my mind and I'm like,
You say thank you and you send them love right back.
yeah. I'm like,
And
that's
that's it.
not a nice
Because
thought.
then otherwise you get tangled into the story and that story becomes you and it's not your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
How-
It's like shitty though that you can feel it because you're like, oh, I don't want to know that.
Oh, trust me. I mean, I used to be in college and my intuition was already good. And I'd be like, that person's a bitch and she's talking about you. And they're like, what? I'm like, sorry. My intuition was always good, you know, but I didn't really have a word for it. You know,
Yeah.
I was like straight facts. I'm like, no, don't trust her, him. Don't do this. They're lying. And that's it. You know?
Yeah.
I guess like with the like on that with like, you know, sharing your truth and like being open and stuff, like how do you protect yourself, like make it more one way versus like receiving it back? Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, I don't think there's one way of doing it. You know, it's a lot of recognizing that what is mine or what is theirs and then letting it pass through you because we can't stop it. I mean, sometimes if it's like really gross and it's really dense energy, I'll definitely put up shields and put up a mirror to block it, like mirrors all around. But usually it's like, okay, I get it. Like I'm feeling this, but is it mine or is it someone else's? And you don't even need to know who it is. But when you ask yourself that question, you know it's not yours and you send it back to whoever it belongs to with love. That's it. And then you fill yourself back up with light.
Yeah.
You don't need to know whose it is half the time. It doesn't matter. The universe knows it's a vibrational match. It's going to go back to them.
Yeah.
I need to master that. Wow.
You keep saying you need to master, but the thing is, we're just here to learn. Don't take the pressure off mastering it. Bring it into, I need to embody it.
I embody it.
Yeah.
And so it is.
Because master, I mean, will we ever master anything? I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. I'm on a like self-mastery thing at the moment. So like,
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's beautiful, but like it just puts a lot of pressure on too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
Such
Always
a-
learning.
Such a wild time to be alive.
It is a wild time to be alive.
Sure.
Like with the age of Aquarius, how it's meant to be all technology based. What are your thoughts like coming into like more of, I guess, like the digital currency side and things like that? Is that's like always meant to be with the age of Aquarius and things like that?
Yeah, that's why I started investing in crypto. Like I don't even really know what's going on with crypto, but I'm like, come on, the astrology is talking about it. So
Yeah.
here's just like dropping money off in it because I'm like,
Yeah.
that's just where we're going. And
Yeah.
you look at all these companies and they're adopting Bitcoin and they're making Bitcoin this or you know, like cryptocurrency, like they're just doing all these things. So it's like, this is where we're going. But the Aquarian age doesn't necessarily equate to just technical or digital, but it definitely is a huge flavor of that. But it's also very quantum. It's also, you know, using your mind to create and like moving into the quantum and connecting with it and creating things out of nothing. So that's why like what they're trying to do with like merging, like putting these microchips in your brain and, you know, listen, like on one level, is that brilliant technology? Sure. On another level, is this very like dystopian and where we're going? Absolutely. So there's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of, I kept saying this, I said this in the blueprint, there's going to be inventions that are beyond comprehension that I said, I can't even tell you the names of it now because I don't even have it in my vocabulary because our consciousness is not there yet.
Yeah.
Right. And some of it's going to be amazing. And then some of it's going to be really bad for humanity. And that's just the lessons that we get by being here.
Yeah.
I have to say the whole like with Facebook changing their name this week and
that is so shady on so many levels. Yeah.
And even like just watching Ready Player One last night, I've been down this whole like merging of the two and it's just like kind of cooked me, to be honest. I'm like, whoa, like
it's very cool, but it's also very scary because they want you in an alternate reality because again, that's how you're a sheep, that's how you're brainwashed. I mean, they're going to stop using fluoride because they don't need to use fluoride anymore.
Yeah.
They
Well, and
they literally don't need to inject you anymore when they have you in a virtual reality simulation.
it's literally like
And
this is
you're
like a gateway.
totally,
And
it's a
next
spell.
minute, it's like the
Right.
metaverse. It was like that, like the game in like the Oasis in
Right.
that movie that I watched, and then it's like next minute you're in the pod in the Matrix. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, soon the toxins are going to be archaic because they don't need that shit anymore, you know?
yeah, this week has been so wild for just all of the channeling and the feelings and the timelines. I'm just like, whoa, like Scorpio season's really serving.
Yeah. You keep saying like to merge with the quantum, for like people listening that maybe don't know like what you're talking about or how to merge with the quantum, like what would you like say to
Well, there's
them?
nothing that if someone doesn't understand it, they can't just go and do it because it's
Yeah.
a level of consciousness. Now, I'm not saying it's like, oh, I'm almighty and have it. I don't mean that. I mean that it's not something you could just be like, oh, I'm going to try to merge with it, you know? So it's more about there's more light coming into the planet. We are awakening. Mother Gaia is going through a huge karmic shift. We have a contract with Mother Gaia. So we are in contract with her to support her. So that means she is growing. That means we are too. So when we have more consciousness, that means we are able to manifest things faster. We're able to do things faster where our vibration's speeding up, right? That's the whole shift from 3D to 5D. I don't even want to get into that, but the whole idea is 3D is slower down, is more slow. 5D is quicker. And when you get to the higher levels of consciousness, you're vibrating at a higher frequency. And so when you do that, there you can manifest quicker, you can move into quicker, you can manipulate things for the better, for worse, right? Just depends on how you use it. So we're moving into this really our bodies, like here's the thing, when I came out with the name Cosmic Body for my podcast, I knew a lot of people didn't resonate with, and I'm like, it doesn't matter where we're moving to cosmic bodies, and they're going to get it. Our bodies are quantum machines. And we're going to understand how to use the frequency of our body in ways that we haven't before.
Yeah.
So they'll understand cosmic body a little, maybe 2 years it's going to be like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Everyone go to Cosmic Body.
Came out,
Get
the
your
name was
downloads.
like deer in headlights. People didn't get it. And I was like, don't worry.
It's so true though. Like half the time I feel like I'm speaking another language. Like people are just like, what? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah. I mean, it is,
yeah.
I just keep talking and then the right people are going to hear it. And then eventually they'll get it, right? Like my mom, it's just so funny. She keeps sending me stuff about like the gut and microbiome and like, and my mom's very like Western medicine, right? Doesn't know anything else. And she's like, Danny, look, you should check this out. Like I hear healing your gut. I'm like, Mom, I've been saying this since 2017. I've been saying this since 2012, right? And like, you're just hearing it now because it's just going into our consciousness now. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's just an example of it. Like they don't get it until they get it.
I had a similar experience with my dad, like a little while ago. And he was like telling me about something. I was like, dude, like I literally did that in like 2013 because I had to like figure it out.
That's the thing is that's why they can say it now though, because it's coming into their consciousness. Like I said all this stuff to my parents before, but it just goes like this. They don't hear it, right? No. And now it's like, oh, there's this, and oh, we should try this. I'm like, who the hell do you think's been telling you this for 10 years, right? You're just listening now. So, and that's just consciousness, because consciousness is opening up more and more.
Well, I guess again, back to like that timeline shift, like this week, it's like things that I've been like saying over and over. It's like people are starting to like understand my words a little bit better this week. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like, I'm less crazy now. Welcome.
No, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for all your knowledge today. It's been absolutely wonderful. And you are such a trooper for not feeling very well and have an infection and still doing this with us.
I know, I'm literally sweating right now. I am like sweating. Don't worry, it's not COVID. It's my infection and my scars. I'm gonna have to go.
Thank you. Honestly, it means so much.
I was like, is that your Taurus sun not wanting to like not go to work?
No.
No, I know everyone listening would like appreciate that you push through as well, because all the information you have is so integral right now for like this timeline and this right now, the age of Aquarius, and everything that you've shared today has been so wonderful. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. So many cheat codes. And for everyone that wants to get more cheat codes, I recommend going to her page, and we'll do like links to all of the different offerings Cosmic as well. Body. But honestly, I can honestly say that I got the most activations from you last year. Like it was actually wild. I was like,
thank you.
like a little.
I'm honored.
I'm so
so-
excited for this 2022 prediction blueprint
yeah,
to
it'll be
come out
good.
as well.
Oh, so when are you releasing that one?
I don't know because I'm traveling a bit right now, so I have to see. But it'll be out. Like if not the end of December, what like the first week of January, probably.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So we're good.
So good. So excited.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And
Thank
have a good
you.
afternoon, my love. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. See ya.
You've been watching an MGT production.